iterations. And Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what you were referring to, right? This view here from 10B.
Well, it wasn't what I was referring to, but this will work. So, I mean, look, and for me, I usually just use a 30% plug for, are we talking about overhead, or sorry, I could be confusing multiple different issues.
Yeah, we're talking about payroll. Yeah, we're specifically talking, I think the discrepancy that we were seeing, that was more glaring to us was in the payroll and benefits. And so specifically in two areas, one in LATAM, the other one was in EMEA, right? So EMEA was going up, actually it reduced, and then I think that LATAM was going up, right? So Jonathan, I think you recall that conversation that we had around LATAM's differences? You were forecasting 28.
Yeah, and I think the major almost level setting is just to get the numbers that we look at comparable to what Mike's kind of back, penciling in. I think that could probably be just by confirming the benefits rates. And I think last time had Jen kind of pointed out some obvious to her, I think you and I learned, but kind of anomalies that were kind of things that would throw off kind of a napkin calculation. Like Argentina, I think was one, and I forget the other one in EMEA.
Yeah, so the different, let me just bring up that email. So there could be a number of different factors, right, of why things could be different. One could be FX rates. Another one could be statutory increases mandated by the country that the resources reside in. There could be some accounting fixes, adjustments that we see previous years, right, that we weren't accounting for, I suppose. And then other benefit variables. So those were the four things that were identified as potentially causing discrepancies. And so I think other thing too, Mike, is that when you're pulling your data, I think you're bringing it in from, was it August or July? Does that sound accurate to you?
Do you have a specific example, Matt? Because I'm having trouble remembering exactly what we were trying to resolve.
Yeah, we were trying to resolve that you were accounting for a different number in payroll and benefits in LATAM. You were significantly lower than what they're forecasting here, right? So we had 1.2 forecasted for 2026, and you were looking at around with including the other non-payroll spend, we were at about 1 million, so $200,000 less, which is significant for LATAM considering it's such a small region.
This was comparing the dashboard that you put together with the data that Jonathan was providing.
That's correct, and so your numbers were lower than what we were seeing in Jonathan's numbers, and we were trying to understand that discrepancy. That's the problem.
Right, but so this is the dashboard I was referring to. Could you maybe, or is this just an export from it?
Just an export, yeah.
Okay, so for example, row 3, we have a cost of that's revenue, right?
This is these two columns are revenue, and then this is your cost over here.
Oh, got it. Okay, so 1 million, but this is coming out of Rev 10, which is being 10A, which is coming from some other source, right?
Well, so our numbers, at least we adjusted them based off of how you were calculating payroll and benefits, from what you were seeing in your data set, which I didn't have, right? So that's what we wanted to then compare how you were calculating payroll benefits, which I think is like a markup of 1.3 for benefits, right?
Oh, right. Okay. So, all right. Now I'm remembering. So I had a list, Jen, that you had put together for me after the last comp cycle, and I was summing up the salary and then multiplying it by 1.3 to get a number. Now, it could just be as simple as, hey, 30% is not enough to account for all of the other things that roll up under payroll that are in addition to salary
But it also could be that as soon as I pull those salary reports, Mike, they're outdated. We have some countries that do monthly statutory increases, and that file does not account for that. It accounts for what it was at the day that I pulled the data.
Right, understood.
Yeah. And then there's the FX rate that we have to factor in as well. That again, I think is updated maybe by finance quarterly.
So maybe taking and LAC's probably got a lot of changes based on FX rates, but if we look at LAC, Matt, the number that we got from Jonathan was what?
1.2.
1.2. And if I were to take...
Oh, sorry, that's for his payroll benefits. Total is 1.39, yeah.
So, okay, so now I remember. So, using this other methodology, do we know how many headcount are in that number?
John, it looks like 19, is that correct? From your
Yep.
perspective?
Yep.
Okay, so in my latest view, and the salary numbers should be using the current FX rate, but I'm only showing 18 people. But here's the discrepancy, right? If I add up all the salary using the current FX rate, I get 638,783, right? Which obviously is way below what you've got there for payroll and benefits of 1.22. Even if I multiply it by 1.4, I'm still only coming in under 900,000. So now again, I'm using 18 instead of 19.
But still.
So maybe that's part of it too.
Well, I think, and just so you know, so in that formula, you can see it's the average. So, Matt, it might be, and I'll actually bring it up just so you know. Yeah, if you unhide that. No, it is 19. Okay. So, and this is for 2026 or 2025? Your review.
Number I gave you?
What's
I'm taking the current head count and the salaries after the last comp cycle converted using a current FX rate. And I'm getting, like I said, salary only at 638,000.
Yep.
So, I mean, if you took, let's see, 82 times 12.
No matter if you. So he's looking at the December 2025, but I still, just so that we can use, I just want to offer a suggestion, because the magnitude, us being off, really isn't, it's bigger than just if it's 18 or 19. I am thinking it's the benefits rate. Maybe, I mean, for that particular cost center, I think the primary one that was off, it's Argentina, which is crazy in terms of just fluidity. And I'm not sure, I guess so the amounts that, the factors you use, you said 1.4, is that what you said?
Well, I mean, normally I use 1.3, but maybe in Latin America it should be higher.
Yeah, I mean, that's my first thought, just because it's such a drastic difference.
Well, so is there a kind of a rule of thumb by country where you can multiply the salary to get the payroll and benefits?
I'm going to defer to Jen on that, because I think the answer is not easily.
What was the question again, Mike?
Is there sort of a rule of thumb where by country you say, hey, in Argentina, if you've got a salary, in order to understand the fully burdened cost of a person, you got to multiply it by 1.3 versus in the US is 1.3 or something like that? Or maybe by region, is it, in LATAM, just you got to multiply it by 1.5?
It's not by region, it's by country. And Jonathan, I used to get that list from you, that benefit cost list, I think quarterly.
What's in the
I
BPC?
don't know if we're doing it. What's that?
So there's no other.
No, I would get that from you. And then you also included the FX rate at the time.
And that's
So
right from
you're-
BPC. So,
Yeah.
Mike, maybe what I'll do is I can send you just those applicable FX rates for those cost centers that we're talking about now, especially just so we can level set, and then and see. If that's how you're getting it, that's easy enough to get. That's right out of BPC. But is that how you were getting them before, Mike, or were you just kind of using best? Like,
I was just using a 1.3
Okay.
as sort of a ballpark, and but again, if I take what I know is my current staff in Latin America, and I take the post last comp cycle salaries with the current FX rate and multiply it by 1.4 even for Latin America, I'm getting about 74,500 per month. So yours starts at 82 and goes all the way up to 120.
Right.
Now, yes, over the course of the year, I think assuming there would be some increase is reasonable, but we're starting, above the number and then growing from there. So anyway, I think it's just every month it sort of compounds, and then by the end we end up with a number that is for the year quite a bit higher than what I think will actually happen.
Sure, and you just need the right factor. Let me go in. I'm logging in now, and what I can do is send you those. It's a huge list, so I'll look up the ones that are applicable, especially for the Latin America, Argentina one we're talking about right now, and I'll send it to this group, and I can do that sooner than later.
Would you be able to do it for all the cost centers that roll up into casino systems?
Oh yeah, that is. Yep,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay.
Okay.
So then, go ahead, sorry.
What was that? That's the benefits multiplier?
It's the benefits. It's both for instance, it looks like the most recent update in the system is for Rev 10 FX rates and F10 benefit rates. So that always shows both of them. So I can send those.
I see. Okay. And then it looks like over the course of the year, I mean, the headcount's not going up, but the payroll and benefits is going up by 50% over the course of the year.
That's the statutory thing that Jen was saying, and it's unique to Argentina, and maybe this one.
There's a lot of countries actually, Jonathan.
Oh, all right.
We have statutory. Argentina's unique because it's once a month.
Right. Sorry, that's what I meant about it. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, now let's look at like EMEA, for example, because there's a lot of weird things in Latin America that we have to account for. Okay, so EMEA is pretty constant.
Yeah, well, EMEA was odd because we were actually going down in cost, which we thought was a little strange, because the head count, I think, is consistent.
Yeah, and let's see, in EMEA, I was actually just working on these numbers this morning. So I've got 17 people in EMEA, so we're off by one there.
Matt, could you open up AF? Yep. Yeah. All right. So we had, right, I have 18 and we had 17 in the budget. And I would almost want to see what that last actual was, because if it looks like it's, so we don't have 7. So I'd have to look into that. I think I feel like it was when we had looked this up. I think it was a few weeks ago when we brought this up at the first time that you and I talked about it. I feel like there was something that stuck out that was, but I have to go back to my notes.
Okay.
Yeah, because the number I'm getting for the Mia salary, this one seems pretty close. 11,530,85. If I multiply that by 1.3, I'm getting 1.49. So pretty close.
Yeah, I think, like I said, the main question was why we were down, or like why the cost was going down, even though the headcount was staying static. So.
And was there any other ones that sort of jumped out? Like, let's look at APAC services real quick.
Yeah, much about APAC. I didn't have the details in APAC, Jonathan, at the time, because that other file was having, I think it's something, we were missing some information on the payroll benefits, so the latest iteration is a little bit easier for us to see, so we can look at that now. So 5.2, it looks like it's going up a hair from last year. But Mike, I believe you were lower as well on this, but I don't recall what your number was.
So, APAC services, I'm showing 59 people.
That's you're looking at 26 in December.
Yeah, 64 seems high, right? Because we're not.
No, if you could go left.
Oh.
Yeah. No worries. So it was 60. So in December 25, that's the forecasted number. So, and I'm just talking off the top of my head, but I believe that's going to be, it's likely going to be 60 or 59, and that plus 5 is going to be your unforecasted cost savings. But I can confirm that. Yeah.
And then let's see, the salary. I'm getting 3,844,289. basically 5 million, and you're getting, what's the
5.1.
6 forecast?
Oh. Scroll right.
Yeah, go right.
5.2.
So 5.2. Okay, so it's off by a couple $100K. But again, that's at a 1.3 benefit, so maybe there it's a little bit higher.
Right, and that again, that will be in the file I send you.
Okay.
And it's easy to send it if that's
Okay.
helpful, or to you and Carlos, Matt. But yep, that should help, or at least it'll either help or bang our heads against the wall more. But I think it'll help.
So LAC is really the one that stands out. And I mean, do we really expect over the course of a year in USD? Because I mean, that's the reason why Argentina gets monthly adjustments, because the inflation situation, right? But that's not more USD. That's usually just more local currency to keep up, or sort of keep USD flat. That's the one that seems really high. Am I thinking of that wrong? In terms of the automatic increases?
I mean, the only reason it didn't look, the periodic increases, that was new info to me too. Not that usually the Argentina is the you know, the real is going, you know, the FX issues. But the total payroll and benefits of, I think it was 65 or 69, and I think in 2024, if you could go like all the way to left, Matt, just start. Yep. So like, so 65. It's definitely up and down, but it's within kind of the range. Like that's why I think it's flown under the radar. It's probably worth, you know, us just looking so that we can kind of talk to it. But you know, the 60, it's always like 5 or 6 K a month, and it kind of continued that way. And then in 26, you're right, but it still comes out, I think it's 64 again at the end of 26, 64, 65. But certainly worth, again, I mean, like, let's do the math. But I think that's why it hasn't kind of risen to one of the things that our fire drill stops.
Yeah, it is weird that the actuals fluctuated so much. Now, what's the average of January 25 through, let's say, October 25? So for a payroll.
Just payroll.
$102.
So that's another. So that's about 1.2.
Yeah, and then Matt, if you scroll to the left, or to the right rather, what's the average for 26?
It's 1.2.
Okay, so that's so weird. What would cause those? Well, I guess it's got to be the benefits.
Right.
So, all right, we'll take a look at that then.
Yep. I can look at, again, I can send you this info today. Matt, do you want it, or do you want me to send this to the group?
Sorry to mute Chops. I think you could just send it to me for now.
Perfect. And then if I'm around.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, that would be tracking it at like, not quite 100%, but pretty close. Which that just doesn't seem right. But okay, well, we'll take a look at it and then we'll come back if we've got more questions.
Always.
All right.
cool.
Very good.
All right, well, thank you. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks, guys. Bye.